Hello, Bricknick.
Hello, Rocker. How's it going?
Good. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing pretty well. I'm just going to grab your image. Are you wanting to use your ranked badge, or do you want to show up as a different identity today? I've been using ranked badge for most people.
Uh, Go ahead. Show my ranked badge. What's
Bronze
good?
3. So it's okay. I mean, like, you admit that, like, that's not reflective of who you truly are. It's just a snapshot of your performance in recent games. And that's okay, right? Like, you have enough maturity to understand that that's not the be all end all.
Yeah.
So let's see. Rocker.
Also, I've been DC'd 37 times this season.
Yeah, exactly. So there's
Oh,
a bigger story here.
my rank would actually be platinum something, I think.
Okay. For some reason, there we go. Alright. I think we're ready to get started. So,
Okay.
Rocker, tell me about how you got into Among Us.
Um, let's see. So, me and a group of my friends come from this community called the Minecraft Game Show community, where we play. I don't know if you ever heard of Survivor or Big Brother.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So we play Minecraft versions of those like social strategy games. And someone in our community advertised a server that I don't think anyone in the Ranked Among Us server community has ever heard of because it was around for like 3 weeks and then
Mm-hmm.
it died. And then a server people have heard of, which I'm now the owner of, was born, which is called Olympus, Among Olympus Ranked, if you've heard of it.
I have.
Yeah. So I was one of the first people playing in that server. Way back when, before I even played at Nutters, no one had heard of it at that point, except for the people that came from the original Among Us Ranked server that I was talking about. In there was a lot of. It was not great. The player base was not great in Olympus. And when the server died, I went to Nutters. I found Nutters, and I found out that I wasn't great at the game.
We all found that out at some point.
Yeah, yeah. Because in Olympus, people were so bad that I was good at the game at
Right.
that point.
You were the
But in
big fish in the
Nutters,
little
I
pond.
but in Nutters I came and I realized, oh, I'm not good. That was like 2 years ago.
Yeah, so it's interesting
Um,
that you reflect back on being quote unquote not good because I think it's mostly your crewmate that needs work, right? Like everyone in the interviews so far, there's been some common theme of labeling you as a good first imposter. Like you kill off Rip, and for some reason the bodies don't get found, so you kind of know what you're doing when it comes to killing.
I think I'm a good first imp. I think I'm a pretty good second imp. Um, I think the problem with my crewmate is when I'm not clear, um,
You get voted. Like this is
I get
the quote
voted.
unquote
I
Rocker gets voted on 10
Yeah.
meme.
So, Bricknick, have you ever been voted on 10 as a
Yes.
crewmate?
Yeah, it's happened, but it's rare. It's annoying.
Okay. It,
It's
it,
not cool.
it is now rare for me.
Uh-huh.
I don't know what it is, but people enjoy voting me. Puts a smile on people's faces. I don't know if that's really my fault or not, but
I think it's funny because like it gives you a reputation and a standing in the community, and it does contribute to the sort of actual enjoyment, which is like a secondary goal for a lot of people. But for me, I think it comes into play because like you are playing a video game to have fun. Yes, it's a
yeah,
ranked
yeah,
community, so that people care about MMR and they want to play to get better, and MMR is a reflection of how good you currently are. But I also want to walk away having had a good experience. I think whenever I see you in a lobby, I know it's going to be a good time.
Yeah.
So I'm never unhappy to see you in a lobby, if that makes sense.
Right back at you. I love playing with you, Brickner.
Yeah, I think there's like something to be said about like people who care about other people, and you definitely strike me as one of those types.
Yeah.
So, what do you think is sort of the root cause of all the toxicity?
I think the root cause of all the toxicity is the unwillingness to like accept new people into the like you see it all over the board, right? The Nutters players are toxic towards the MMR players.
Mm-hmm.
The MMR players are toxic towards the Olympus players.
Yep. There's
Yeah.
like this elitism and insular community and assumption that other communities are invalid, and
Right.
ego
Right.
comes
So,
into play. And
so the purple server is a combination of all those communities plus more, right?
right.
So people in the original Nutters community are always shit talking the people in the other communities, and it goes down and down. MMR shit talking everyone below them,
Yep.
and trying to get their reputation up towards Nutters. It's like a
I see what you did there.
yeah,
Yep. Cool.
it's
So
like a weird.
So with all this like melting pot of different servers having come into the purple server,
Yeah.
what do you see as a way to make amends between these different sort of subcultures?
I mean, I feel like every server has their good players. Every server has their bad players, right?
Mhm.
I don't feel like any server should feel like they're above the other servers. I don't know. As someone who comes from Olympus, which some people see as the lowest server of the bunch, I mean,
So there's this like comparison of who's good and who's not, and then you say it's better not to focus on that. So that's like a statement of what should be the case. Now, how do we get there?
I think the way we get there is acceptance of.
What actions
Accept-
can you and I
accept-
take to
What
better?
action?
Yeah, what actions can you and I take to better the community?
When a new player comes into the community, instead of bashing them for the throw that they make, try to in a nice way say, welcome to the community. It was nice playing with you. Here are the mistakes you made,
Mhm.
and here's how we would fix them.
That's so wholesome. I love that
Instead
you're willing to
Instead
go
of
down that
yelling
route.
at them,
Yeah, that's
like,
awesome.
it is the mentality in ranked right now that scares players away.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the toxicity in ranked is needed. I used to yell at games, not usually the new players, but at old players for throwing.
Yeah. What do you think changed your mind? Like, how did you get from sort of that behavior to where you are now?
Stop caring about MMR.
Mm-hmm.
I still care about the game. I still care about the ranked community.
Maybe it's not that you stopped caring about MMR altogether, but you realized that it's secondary compared to the experience.
Right, yeah. Maybe that is it. Yeah. I cared more about I started caring more about the community as a whole and everyone enjoying the game than about my own personal standing in the rankings.
Yep. That, I think, reflects exactly the sort of mindset change that I've had too.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. I'm really glad to hear that we're aligned on that. I think that's fantastic, and that means with that new perspective, right, like, you can also be part of the solution and set a good example.
I don't know how to teach that mentality, though.
Well, I'll tell you what, like, with that mindset, I think that you belong in the 5-up lobby. Even if you're not good, right? Like, because you have the wholesome attitude.
Yeah.
Now, some people might disagree. Some people might say, like, you have to be good at the game. And I think that that's a good condition to have. But what do we really want someone like that walking away with? They want to have their ego strokes because they are a really good player, and they want to sort of demonstrate that the upper echelons of the game are extremely high. And at the same time, they want to be welcome and respected. And they want to see that the game isn't dead, this thing that they've spent a lot of time on, and that the community can grow and that we can be welcoming and positive and wholesome.
Yeah.
You can set a great example. And so can everyone else, by the way. It's not like it's just Rocker that's special. Everyone can have that mindset shift.
I am not special. Faye just asked me if I'm getting in the 5-up lobby. I don't think so, Faye.
See, it's not really up to me. It's not really up to you. It's not up to anyone in particular. It's up to us as a community to think about what do we really value. We could go with strictly skill. Throw in the most toxic but strong players and see what happens. But I think that that is not a very good decision.
Yeah. I don't know.
We'll see. I mean, I could be way off base here. Maybe I'm...
I mean, what I had. I mean, I feel like I've got that mindset, and I'm also maybe not the top tier echelon player, but I'm not bad. Like.
Aspect has some comments in the chat saying, scroll up and look what I said. If you scroll up, he'll laugh. Aspect says, for real now, I'm better than Rocker now. GG's. I stopped a while ago, Fate, meaning yelling at throwers, more than 2 weeks ago, Aspect claims. So some people have been hating on Aspect, I've noticed in some of these interviews, even though Aspect's interview sort of showed that he has a mature mindset as well.
Yeah, no, Aspect does have a mature mindset.
So if you could handpick the lobby,
I feel like
if you could handpick the lobby with 5-up Rocket, tell me, who would you pick?
If I could handpick a lobby with 5-up?
Yeah.
Sure. Is it only with people that have registered for the tournament?
It doesn't have to be related to the tournament at all.
Okay.
The tournament is probably actually not going to have 5-up in it, by the way. Like, I see a lot of people conflating those two things. I don't think 5-up cares about $1,000. Like,
I don't think he cares about $1,000 either.
He has already mentioned that he thinks Among Us tournaments are scuffed. So there's like not much appeal to him for like a small cash prize in his terms and a not very sort of effective way of measuring skill. I think what his objective is to come in and learn a bit about ranked and then also be willing to change his mind about whether ranked players are good or not. So we are incentivized to put in some very strong players who we think will do a good job as crew and challenge him to be a goated imposter, because that's where his strengths really are. Without stream sniping him, obviously, like there's got to be some amount of morals and ethics in whatever player base we put together.
Okay. From what I'm hearing, I think Jasper.
Yes. Definitely.
I think Squirrel.
Mm-hmm.
Saitama.
Fate suggests Tax.
Tax, if he still plays the game, sure.
He's back, man. I think that all the excitement around the tournament and 5-up has actually revived him, because he actually removed all his YouTube videos, right? And now, because of all the hype, he's restored them. It's like a complete turnaround case from Tax abandoning it to becoming like he's one of the casters for the tournament, and he was on the call with 5-up. Yeah, Tax is like back from the grave and kicking harder than ever.
Those would be my first 5. I'd put Aspect in there. I'd put Saigo in there. I'd put JoJo in there. I'd put myself in there, and I'd put you in there, Brickneck.
Hell yeah, I am down for that. That sounds so good.
And that would be.
I think I would struggle to keep up with the level of play of the players that you've handpicked there, but I think I would hold people accountable to being good people.
And I think the people I just listed would be able to like cooperate with each other, and the toxicity level would be nowhere near
We should
a
put
regular.
we should
ranked
also consider like players like Wiz or Mikey because they have already played with 5-Up, so they're sort of like known good quantities.
I didn't know who had played with 5-Up before.
Oh, so there's a different server called Waffle Apartment Complex, which is like a little bit like how there are servers that have pre-made lobbies with known good players in terms of MMR, but then toxicity is a feature. Waffle Apartment Complex requires you to be decent at the game, but like ascended to level-headedness and never flaming type of deal. And therefore 5-Up plays in that server with randos
Okay.
like us.
Randos.
Right, so that to me shows where 5-Up's values lie. You know?
Right, right.
Willing to play with even not that strong people if they're good people. In terms of not necessarily good at the game, but good to each other. Not clogging comms. Not talking too much in meetings. Not yelling at each other after the game, even if a crew throw happens.
Hence why Pryor and X aren't in the lobby that they handpicked.
Yeah, so
No shade, just saying.
it will be very interesting to see how the community responds to this. I'm predicting that the very first thing they'll say is Rocket is not qualified to make this assessment because
Oh
that
yeah,
is
100%. I'm
that
not
is-
qualified to make this assessment.
that is everyone's hot take. Like
It's a
anytime
hot take, yeah.
anytime Ken speaks up saying like here are the people that should play, then the Among Us ranked chat is flooded with Ken is ass, which is like not acceptable. Maybe they think it's a joke or whatever, but it's been going on a bit too long, and I don't think Ken is happy about that either. I can't really speak on his behalf, but
Ken,
yeah, shout out to Ken.
you're not ass.
Exactly. Ken, I think you have the
Ken's actually decent at the game. I don't know what that is about. but-
Ken has proven himself with like diamond
Yeah.
rank. That's way better than me. And yet people still find his opinions invalid because they have this
I was
ego.
Warrior 3 seasons in a row, and people still think I'm shit. Like,
See, it doesn't really come down to how many times you've won or whatever, because people will always find a justification like, oh, you just play in jungle lobbies and you get
Right.
imp wins or whatever, or
people think I'm still the player that I was in Nutters.
right. There's always going to be
just-
bias and
I'm just
perception
not.
and
Like,
yeah, it's always going to be really subjective around who people actually respect and think are good. But it's pretty easy to find out who are the sort of level-headed people who are good to others, especially if they're nice to people who are bad. That's the real test. Like, look at someone's character, measure them after a crew throw, and see how they respond to the person who threw the game, and also measure them, especially if the person who threw the game was new to ranked.
yeah,
If they can treat them kindly, then that's someone I can respect.
yeah. I mean, I think pointing out who threw is a good thing for the community, but I
Right.
think yelling at them is not.
Right. Do it respectfully. Tell them in a way that they can learn and grow from that feedback. But don't make them want to quit ranked forever by just like flaming them or attacking their character or their weight or their age or gender or sexism or ableism. None of that stuff is okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
for example, no, not to throw shade at you, but because we're the ones in the call, I'm going to give this example. I was watching a stream. You were in Final Four with Mikey, XPC, you, and I forget who the imposter was.
Uh-huh. I think you're bringing up the example where I decided to vote off XPC.
I'm
Is that
bringing
the
up the
one?
example where you decided to vote off XPC, and XPC I think is to blame for that, along with you.
Yes, we're
because
both
of
at
the way-
fault. Mhm.
because of the way he responded towards.
Yep.
But I think if you take emotion out of it, which is hard to do in that scenario, he's yelling at you about how you're an idiot. He's not playing the games optimally at all as a
Right.
crewmate.
Right.
But I think if you take that out of it, I think it's almost like, at least as a perspective, seeing through your stream, I thought it was pretty obvious who the imposter was.
And so did a lot of
and that
people.
It was an XPC.
Yeah, so a lot of people have that more balanced perspective because they weren't in the heat of the moment and weren't being sort
Right.
of personally
Right.
assaulted. And if I look back at that, I can see like, yeah, man, like that was pretty obvious. You can just look at the clears, you can sort of figure it out mechanically.
Right.
But there's always that
And
subjective thing that comes
I
about.
completely get where you're coming from. He was
Right.
not behaving like a good ranked
It
player.
didn't seem
in that
like he was on my team, right?
Right.
Like he was
Yeah.
ready to shit on me, and that makes him feel like my enemy, which means I'm likely to vote him off the ship because it feels like he's working against me, and he was. He just wasn't the
In
imposter.
general,
He was
attacking a
like third
player
imposter.
in general, attacking a player during a game is not a good decision, no matter what role you are.
Exactly. Much better to wait till after the game, and then even
Yeah.
then, don't attack them,
Don't
quote
attack.
unquote. Right?
Don't
Like,
attack.
give them the constructive feedback in a gentle and kind way. That's difficult for XPC to do, given his mindset is, I am not a real person. Right? Like he admits that he sees me as a player first and as a person last, and therefore, it's his job to shit on me because I'm just
So you
faceless.
don't think XPC should be in the 5-up lobby?
Oh, absolutely not. I don't think he should be in the server, to be honest. He doesn't seem willing to change. He is no remorse.
Yeah.
Publicly
No,
flames people. Doesn't seem to be arguing from a place of good faith. But it's also because he's young. He's a literal child, and therefore like acts immaturely, and that's like expected. But I think
Yeah.
he can grow beyond that. Like if he really reflects on his character and why he makes the decisions he does and what objective he's actually going for, I think eventually he will overcome that. And I do hope that he is able to move past it. Just like I can admit that I'm wrong in many ways, like he should examine himself and think about ways that he could learn and grow.
Yep, I agree. And now I'm gonna get attacked by all the XPC.
Love boys,
Friends.
yeah, or the network of allies who respects sort of toxicity for some reason.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe they have a point, right? Because they wanna validate XPC's feelings. XPC is also a person. He doesn't deserve to be
XPC is a
made.
person,
He
yeah.
does not deserve to be made to feel awful. And like I apologize for the part I've had to play in that. Like I've definitely not been nice to XPC. It's not okay for me to like talk about dodging him and how I
Yeah.
don't like him as a person and all this stuff. Like it's difficult to not do that in the moment. I think
Right,
I've not
so-
crossed the line of like directly insulting sort of ableist or sexist or that type of thing, like, but I still
Right.
could have been better, and that's okay, right? Like we're all working to be better people,
Right.
at least hopefully. Maybe that's not the case. Maybe my assertion is invalid, but yeah.
I mean, I have particular people that in the rank community that I just don't get along with.
Hmm.
Um,
And maybe you'll get past that, right? Like just like I wasn't getting along with Zag up until this morning. Had an hour and a half long call with him and the rest of Ranked Hangout, and we really hashed it out. And I think
good for you and Zag.
yeah, I think we arrived at a place where we actually agree on a lot of things. I think the big distinction was me admitting that I'll never remove all the toxicity, but I may be able to reduce it and help people get to the sort of ascended level where they could join Waffle Apartment Complex and play with people like 5-Up without,
Yeah.
him losing respect for them. So I think that was a really, really healthy and productive conversation, and I'm really glad that I like embraced that, and I'm open to being wrong, like open to change,
Yeah.
open to growth, and like thank you everyone for the feedback that you've had for me so far. Like really valuable point about me being a bit too black and white at times. Like I do need to get more comfortable with gray area, and that's something I'm continuing to work on.
That's very healthy for you to say, Ricknick. That was that's good speech.
Good talk, good talk. But this isn't
Yeah.
really like supposed to be about me. It's more about you, Rocker. So yeah,
Yeah,
if you
sorry.
you want to give me
Sorry.
like more of your thoughts about like maybe the upcoming tournament, or like what do you hope to see change about like Among Us, or anything that you think is relevant.
What is fate telling me?
So Type Def or Fate is saying, firstly, Decode would be good in the 5-up lobby, and so would Static. Some people say Static is a little bit toxic. I actually think Static is really cool in many ways, and is motivated to make the quote-unquote Among Us documentary. I think that some of these interviews I've been doing could
Static's making an Among Us documentary?
He's talked about making it. I don't think he's taken the first steps yet because he doesn't really sort of understand how to approach the problem and break it down. And so I'm trying to like help him out. I think that some of these interviews I've been doing could be reasonable approximations of a documentary if they were stitched together with some sort of timeline, and like if we started asking questions about the history of Among Us. Go get some inner sloth people, interview them as well. TypeDef says, I said Static because I've heard some people from Waffle say Static is one of their favorite players. That is a huge vote of confidence. So if people from the Ascended server Waffle say that Static is one of their favorite players, then I trust them.
Okay. Man, this Ascended server.
Yeah.
Where's the invite?
I got it from Mikey, and Mikey's played with 5-up. So it's like the 6 degrees of separation from Kevin Bacon type of effect.
Nice, nice.
Who would have thought if you're nice to Mikey, good things can happen?
Well, Ascended Waffle server, I'll get there one day.
Yeah. Well, I think you're already like most of the way there, right? Like you've already sort of found your growth areas, you've been working on them. You already admit like that the toxicity is a problem and that we need to be nice to new people. I think you're just seconds away from getting an invite.
Okay. Let's see. What do I want to talk about now? I've had the conversation about toxicity, which is what I wanted this interview to be about.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like that's the main problem with ranked, and it has been for a long time. Man, I lose my train of thought very quickly.
So Rocker, like just on this note, Wiz, who's like high ranking staff on Waffle, has said he's okay with inviting you. So my prediction has turned out to be true.
Oh, awesome. Okay. You were just playing Melee with Wiz, weren't you?
Indeed. He is a chill individual.
Yeah, he is chill. I played some Among Us with Wiz.
I really look forward to playing with you and Wiz and Mikey and maybe even 5-up in Waffle. I think that's going to be really fun.
Dude, Fate has been DMing me during this entire conversation.
Yeah.
I can't pay attention.
That's okay. I mean, like, this is just a conversation. And, like, Fate/TypeDef has valid points and is helping you out, man. Like, it's a community thing too.
I'm not telling you to stop, Fate. I'm not telling you to stop.
He's telling you who the imps are. He's DMing you.
He's telling you who the imps are. I mean, we're getting dangerously close to. Do I bring it up on stream?
Hey everyone, look at that! Remember how Rocco? Remember how you and I just vouched for Aspect, and it turns out Aspect is also in Waffle.
Oh, nice!
Look at that. This is starting to look like the place to be. Very cool.
Good for you, Aspect. Good for you. I know he's watching the stream, so.
We should do like a town hall in Waffle. I think that could be amazing. Where we'd all just slap each other on the back. It's just a positivity carnival.
I didn't know that was possible in the Ranked Among Us community.
Right. It would just be such a departure from like the typical you threw a crew game and then everyone just yells at you.
And it goes to Among Us. And it goes to general chat. I think that might be a big problem.
It is, right? Like we shouldn't be ever publicly flaming anyone.
Why are we talking about throws in general chat?
Exactly. I think it could be like coming back to sort of Ascended level it could be done in such a wholesome way. Like imagine if the person throwing says like, "Hey, I really am open to feedback. I'd love to hear about like what could I have done better." And then people were like, "Okay, like here are some things I noticed, some observations. Here's like what a good crew would have done in that situation. Here's what you actually did, and here's the impact it had." That would just be way more constructive.
Oh my gosh! Like I just looked at the Among Us general chat, and like this mentality, I'm Jack the Ripper, my opinion is correct. Like, I'm not trying to call Swift out, but that is not a good mentality to take on this game.
Right. Yeah, so there's
everyone's opinions are valid. You should hear everyone out.
There's a problem with ego a little bit. Like people love to sort of stroke their ego or like want to be speaking with authority and have people respect them. But the thing is, if you're a real one, you don't have to say it. You know, like you will earn the respect. You don't have to try to command it.
I think Saitama's amazing at that. Saitama doesn't talk about how he's the best.
Right.
People just know he's the best.
Right, and you shouldn't ever have to say it for yourself. Like other people should vouch for you if it's true. Like when people flame me in a random lobby and then someone else steps in and defends me, then I know that like I'm not off base here. Like other people actually respect me, and that's good, right? And we could all do better about propping each other up too, instead of trying to like shit on someone. Like, show the respect for your fellow players. They've been playing this for quite a while. They might know what they're talking about, and consider their opinion on its own merit. Don't over-index on like who they are. Think about what they're saying.
Just because I get voted on 10 doesn't mean my opinion is invalid.
Exactly. Rocket, you have a lot of valuable opinions, and I think it's great that you're getting a voice here. Like, this is your chance to sort of broadcast to the community and maybe even to the world about like what change you want to see.
I think I've made it clear. I want constructive feedback instead of reductive feedback, which is the main feedback people are getting in the ranked community right now. It's not helping anyone becoming better at the game saying, "You're horrible. How could you make that decision? What are you doing?" You have to explain to them why making that decision was bad.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Like you could be specific without being overly critical and just
I am not going to stay on screen that Aspect and Defiant can meta me, because Aspect and Defiant cannot meta me. Xsync can meta me. I'll give you that. Xsync comes from the Minecraft Game Show community. We've known each other for like 5 years, so I play in a lobby with him because like Rocker's imposter. It's the most annoying thing.
So Rocker, what are your growth areas as an imposter?
I think my growth areas as an imposter. I think I need to know when not to do the risky kill. I don't know if Aspect went into this, but my favorite type of kill is killing someone between a bunch of crewmates with lights off.
Mm-hmm.
It minimalizes the clears, right?
Yep.
And if you do it the ideal way, two crew end up hard accusing each other. I can't do that kill as much as I used to because people hard accuse me off meta.
No, there was a kill with lights down and none of us are clear. It must be Rocker.
Right.
Amazing.
There was 6 people at O2. Is Rocker cleared? No. I think I've heard Fate say those exact words like 4 times.
What about leaning on your second imp in those situations to clear you?
I get instant paired with them.
Yeah, but like, okay, so if it's imp server, you could try to reach to them for a vouch quietly. And also, another trick that I've used once, I don't know if this is good or not, but I got away with it one time. At least it made me survive another round. Go check admin before you do the kill. And if you're the only one in admin, then, you know, vent up to lab and kill with lights down or whatever.
Yeah.
And then claim that you see someone in O2. You know, like you might have to ask, "Who did I see in O2?" or something like that, and then they'll
Yeah.
they'll be like, "I didn't see you," and you'd be like, "Oh, I guess you were on a task or something." You know, you can sort of like call into doubt, like gaslight the crew into believing that you're in O2 or something.
Yeah, I've gotten away with stuff like that before. I hate the new update.
Yeah, with no pre-running.
That, and I was talking even before that, the fact that your name shows up way higher than it used to.
True. Yeah, the vents are nerfed
I
as a result.
loved killing in. I loved being on admin, venting up, killing in lab, venting back down, claiming I was on admin the whole time.
Yeah, but now the vent
with lights,
sucks.
with lights off. But with the vent is completely inviolable if you cannot see what's above it.
Yeah, yeah. That's
Aspect
true.
Aspect will just sit above that vent, waiting for me to pop out. It's the most annoying thing.
That's funny. Pink warding vents. I
Dude,
remember when
Aspect, you're annoying.
I remember when pink warding was not allowed. Aspect says, asked Rocker how he felt when I killed him on top of someone and then got voted on the second round, unfortunately.
I felt fine. You got voted on the second round. You know what game makes me angry? When Exig killed me with comms off in front of 6 people and no one said he was there.
What are some of your favorite memories
Still unbelievable.
when you look back on the games you've played or like the times you've had on the servers? What are some of your favorite memories?
I mean, it's mostly imp wins because that's
Yeah.
what I remember.
Yep. Do you record your imp wins?
I didn't on Nutters. I have some recordings, but when I'm on campus, which is most of the time now, when I try to record my screen, I end up DCing all the time. And because I don't really like MR isn't the biggest deal to me anymore, I was like, I'd rather just not DC. And if I do DC, I don't have the proof. Whatever.
Do you think the DCs are happening because your computer's getting overwhelmed? Like
It only happens when I'm on campus. When I'm at home, it works fine.
So is it like the strength of your network or something?
I think so. Yeah.
That's weird too, right? Because isn't the recording just happening locally, or are you talking about live streaming to Twitch?
It's just happening locally, but I don't know.
That's strange. Yeah. Seems like it shouldn't be happening. Have you tried like using different recording software maybe?
I've only tried OBS because that's the recording software I know how to use.
Yeah, yeah. OBS works for me. And a lot of recording software also has options around like the frames per second captured and quality and this sort of thing. You could try adjusting that and see if your DCs go away.
Yeah, I guess I might try that.
Fate asks, why do you get voted on kills that he gets miscleared for?
How am I supposed to answer that?
Yeah, I know. I thought about not asking the question, but I'm trying to engage with my viewers here.
Wait, how am I supposed to answer that? Please tell me how I'm supposed to answer that.
So, Rocker, would you want to open it up to like a ranked hangout community discussion at this point? All right, let's do that. Cool. What's up, guys?
Oh, before anyone talks, shout out to my boy Faisal, my second favorite player.
Faisal.
Is that homework away?
I forgot to say Faisal's name on the stream, so now I gotta say it before he speaks.
No, he did a little interview. Last one, man.
Yeah, ranked hangout. Yeah, Rocker and I just did an interview.
How am I supposed to answer that question?
Bruh, I remember like pre-running and you would like hit the comms wall while pre-running and you get voted out for it when I make like the most insane kill ever.
I remember when I killed on Death Node, got cleared for it. It was between 4 people, and you were not clear when you were on Vitals.
Okay, that's because Sean is just like weird. It's not my fault.
Yeah, it's not my fault. My pre-run messed up.
Alright, so I'm gonna actually end the stream. Do you want to pick who we raid?
Sure. Let me see who's streaming.
We can either raid like a small name streamer, or we could go back to the well and raid 5 up.
Raid 5 up. Let's do it.
I
Alright.
think
See if he's online. I think he's actually not.
No.
Yeah, so we'll raid someone else. Let's do a little bit of research. Find a stream. If you don't find one, I have a backup stream. A guy called Propinator that I raided the other day, and he seems like an all-round good guy.
Who does?
Propinator, just like another streamer, but we can find another streamer to raid if you guys have a
The
preference.
worst thing
Captain
happened today.
Sparkles is streaming Among Us.
The worst thing happened today on the way home.
What happened?
So I get on the bus, right? And you know there's this guy. I don't mean this in a bad way, obviously. There
I
was some
think
guy.
just do the
Wait, but
propane.
he's
Alright,
streaming,
I'm
so
doing
be
that.
careful.
Yeah. Raiding
Oh,
Propinator.
Well, there was this guy with disability on the bus, right? I won't say what disability is. I'm trying to get warned, right? And he just starts chatting to me, and because I was like waiting for the bus for my friends, and so I didn't have my AirPods in, so he starts chatting to me on the bus, and like I'm just really struggling to understand what he's saying because of his disability, and like people who just talk to you while on the bus just aren't really like this is just a bit weird, right? So I end up getting off the bus after 5 minutes and waiting half an hour for the next one.
Alright.